Hello, in this video we're going to discuss air booths, spray booths in other words. We're going to discuss the types, the features, DIY versus store-bought, and the recommendations. So hello, again this is Mike Myers and there's Moosey looking out the window. Somebody get ready for a bark. And you're here for another episode of Modeling with Mike. And this is part 3 of the Airbrushing 101 series. And we're discussing spray booths. So why is a spray booth important? Well, you have health concerns, overspray control, and you get better paint results. It takes away, first of all, the health concerns. It takes away the fumes that you're going to be inhaling when you're painting. It takes away the paint particles that you can inhale. Anything you can inhale, this will filter out and take away, and it'll either go into another filter containment system or be vented outside. Overspray control. It'll take all that overspray, that extra atomized paint, and all the fumes that go with it. It'll suck it out through that filter, through a vent hose, and either out the window, if you have it vented out the window, or in another vent that you have set up. Better paint results. Why a spray booth matters? Well, number one, let's discuss the dangers of spraying without proper ventilation. I use acrylics. It doesn't matter. You're still just inhaling, paint particles. Paint particles are not made to be inhaled by human lungs. Okay? Plain and simple. And what this does, it uses an exhaust fan. Just draws all those paint particles and all those fumes through that filter in back, and it filters out the paint particles are gone. You're not inhaling them. They're not gone. They're still stuck to that filter, and you're going to have to change the filter, but you're not inhaling them. They're not in your lungs. This is a good time to discuss one of these. This is a ventilator mask. These two things on the side here are filters. Any fumes or any paint particles that get out of this spray booth, if you're wearing one of these, this will take care of it. You won't be inhaling them in your lungs. This will cost you $15-20 most. How does a spray booth improve your paint application? Well, I just told you what it does is it sucks out the overspray that normally would land on your newly painted model. And if those paint particles dry before they hit your model, you'll get an orange peel or a rough texture to your paint job. It's not smooth. You're gonna have to sand it down and redo it. That's what one of these helps you out. Misconceptions. There's a lot of misconceptions. I'm going to take care of three of them. The ones I think are most dangerous to your health if you listen to them. Okay. First one. I don't need a spray booth if I use acrylics. Bullshit. Okay. You're still using paint. I just told you before, paints weren't made to be inhaled into your lungs. You're still using a paint, you're still inhaling it in your lungs. So don't listen to that. If you use acrylics, you still need one of these. Another one is any fan will work. No, it won't work because any fan won't work because you need brushless fans. You need an exhaust fan. Has to be an exhaust fan. It has to be brushless. If you have a fan with brushes on it and you're painting with lacquers or enamels that have an odor to them that are flammable, and one of those brushes sparks, you could have a fire. Okay? So you need a brushless fan that is an exhaust fan. Okay? Those two things. Any fan will not do. And I just told you another misconception. This completely removes fumes. It doesn't. You need this. You need your respirator mask, and you need either a secondary filter system or you need to vent it out the window to get rid of it, everything. All three of those things in combination get rid of the stuff because it's ventilation after it's filtration after filtration after filtration. Now, types of spray booths. Uh, you have store bought spray booths, what you buy off of Amazon or or your hobby shop or eBay. And some of the good features of these are compact, ready to use. This one took me 5 minutes to set up. Okay, and they have built-in fans and filters, as you can see, and they don't have any leaks because they're built to specifications and tolerances. You have DIY spray booths. That's the ones you make on your own. Some of the problems and good things about it are they're budget friendly. Oh yeah, these every component that the manufacturer uses on these, they get charged for, and they're going to move that charge on to you. You know, which is why anything that's built is more expensive than stuff that's built by yourself, of course. It's customizable. You can make them any size. You can use, you know, you can use any size fan you want. It should fit. The fan should fit the size of the booth that you're making. You know, and you can use your own ventilation hose. You can use uh, go to the big box store, get you a hose for a dryer, or you can get a plastic hose like I've got, but that came with my kit. Uh, and some of the drawback to it is it requires some setup. It requires planning in order to build it correctly. You know, you need to plan it out You need to make your specifications and build it to that specification. Have ventilated and filtered booths. This is a filtered booth. It has two different filters. Has this filter, it has that filter behind me that the hose goes into. And that filter behind me has a water tray under it to catch the fumes. That's triple filtration there. Uh, and ventilated, if this came with a little vent that if I wanted to open these windows here and vent it outside, I could. And of course, these filters are replaceable on each one of these. Key features to look for in a booth. Each fan, just like the air compressor, the fan of the booth is rated in CFM, cubic feet per minute, how many CFM it can move. Uh, the minimum, the very minimum you should have is 80 CFM, cubic feet per minute. That's the minimum amount of air that should be moving through it. And the minimum booth pushes 80 to 100 CFM, and that's used for acrylics and small models. This is a minimum setup, and that's all I need because I don't do any heavy painting. I don't have very long painting sessions. Your ideal range, a lot of these larger YouTube channels and people on them do larger scale models. They're going to have to paint their models in pieces. But the range for those is 150 to 200 CFM. That's for the longer airbrushing sessions and using lacquers and acrylics because you not only have to get rid of the paint particles, you have to get rid of the fumes on those. And that requires extra oomph. You have filter types. You have basic mesh filters, which was this, the blue one, or you have carbon filters. Carbon filters are usually found in fish tanks, but they work great on the bigger spray booths. Uh, the normal mesh filters are blue, carbon filters are black, and you can usually buy carbon filter by the sheet and cut it out to the size you need, and they're very inexpensive, less than $10 for a sheet that will, you know, work you for 4 or 5 changes, maybe something like that. So it's very economical. You got size and portability of your spray booth. You need to take into consideration not only the size of your workspace, but the size of what you're going to be working on for the most part. Like I said, I use smaller size models I work on. So small booth works great for me. Your other modelers that use the larger larger scales and have longer spray sessions, a larger booth would work great for them. And you also have to take into consideration the amount of space you're going to put those in. Noise levels, just like on an air compressor, this has different noise ratings, and always get the quietest one you can find. Usually, the larger your fan, the louder it's going to be. I'm going to turn this on. And there you go. That's how loud this one is. Not really loud at all. Now, let's talk about lighting. This one has built-in LEDs, uh, but you can also add your own. If there are strips out there that have backing you could stick on the sides maybe, and connect it to a power source. Uh, you know, but these I find are more inadequate. Pros and cons of DIY versus store bought. Uh, DIY pros, you're buying the materials yourself, so it's going to be cheaper to build. Uh, you can customize the size, you can build it to your own specifications, but make make sure that it's going to fit your needs and your workspace. And you can use stronger fans in it. If you don't need a stronger fan, don't use a stronger fan. Cons of DIY. Uh, it requires planning, a lot of planning before you build it, and it requires effort to build and to set up. You just can't throw it together and say, here it is. It's not going to work for you. It's not going to probably be very, very efficient. It's not going to filter correctly, probably. It's just not going to get rid of the fumes and the overspray like it should. Uh, and like I just said, it may not filter as well. You have to make sure, especially when you put in your exhaust fans and that area for the filtration hose to connect to, that you have no leaks. You cannot have any leaks, or else you're just going to be moving out your overspray and your fumes back into your room. Store bought pros. The pros for store bought. You get easy setup. Now, let me show you how easy this is. Take this turntable, lean it up against there. This goes up. These go down. And this goes up. You disconnect it from the power source. You're ready to take it anywhere. And then put it back together. Boom, boom, boom. There you go. Put your turntable back on. You got it back. And that took what? 10, 15 seconds each time? Yeah. Other than that, it's designed for hobby use, you know. That's what these are made for us, the modelers of the world. And just like I said, it folds up. You can take it anywhere. Store-bought cons. Uh, well, since the manufacturer is building all this and getting all these parts from suppliers, they're passing the cost on to you, and they're going to be more expensive than DIY. You have limited to no customization. I don't see what you're gonna do different with this. It's, you know, the dimensions are set. You can't add dimensions to it. I wouldn't without voiding the warranty and screwing the thing up. I mean, I basically gonna have to leave it like it is. Common mistakes to avoid with one of these bad boys: not venting properly. Uh, and really, I want you to realize that you absolutely cannot have any leaks in here. Otherwise, you're just blowing all the fumes back into the room. Might as well not even be using it. You need to either use a secondary filtration, or vent it out the window. Uh, Using a weak fan that doesn't blow efficiently. Don't. If this basically goes to the DIY ones. If you're using a DIY spray booth and you're using a little piggy motor just to save money, well, we discussed this at the start of the video. You're gonna have it's not gonna blow in and filtrate all the overspray that you're gonna make, and that overspray has to go somewhere. It's probably gonna what doesn't stick to the sides of your booth is going to fall on your model, probably dried as it falls on your model, which causes a rough finish. Common mistake is forgetting to replace these blue bad boys. You got to replace those filters. I would say once every other month would be good if don't have that long painting sessions like I do. Or once a month, you have to have that if you are using longer painting sessions. The last one I'm going to tell you about, the last mistake, is oversizing or undersizing for your space and your needs. You're going to get what your space needs and what you're using it for. Okay? Bigger ones for bigger space and bigger jobs, smaller ones for smaller space and smaller jobs. It just is common sense. You know, use what fits your needs. Some spray booth recommendations. Okay, I'm just going to tell you some options here and do a general. I'm not going to recommend any uh, brands here, but I'm just going to give you a general need for each option. The budget option is going to cost you $50 to $100. That's what I have. Cost me $70 on eBay last year. These are, as I said before, good for small setups. Small setups, limited uh, spray sections, smaller models. Your mid-range options are $100 to $200. These include your bigger airbrush spray booths. And obviously they have more power, larger filters, more filtration, and Obviously, you can do longer spraying sessions and larger models with those. These also include uh, the water curtain uh, spray booths. Water curtain spray booths are the same as this, only in front of that filter you'll have at the bottom you'll have a curtain of water that's falling on the bottom of the booth. Here you'll have a water reservoir and a pump, and it'll pump up water, and it'll constantly go around and it'll cause a waterfall, and that's used to catch all your overspray. And then what doesn't it doesn't get goes through your filter along with the fumes. Uh, so that's just another layer of filtration, and your mid-range option will have that. And I'll leave some affiliate links and on some of those options in the video description. So let's recap what we learned here. Uh, Basically, here you have two different types of filters. You have carbon filter and you have a mesh filter. Carbon filter, yeah, it's better in mesh, but mesh, if you're just using small jobs, mesh is fine. Uh, Now you can either your vent or filtration. You can either vent out the window. Every one of these setups have a little fan uh, type attachment where you open your window just a little bit, put that in there, close your window on it, and that'll force air out your screen. Or you can use another filter system. These are called indoor dryer vents, and that's exactly what they're used for. Venting dryers indoors that don't have an outdoor vent to attach to. These are anywhere from $10 to $25. Uh, Remember, the size of your booth needs to correspond with the size of the painting jobs you're going to do, and also the area of your workspace. Don't get one that's too small for, if you're if you're working on 1/24th models and higher on planes, don't get a small airbrush. If you're working on 1/48 planes and smaller, don't waste your money on a larger airbrush or a waterfall airbrush. You don't need one. Small one will do you fine. Uh, don't listen to misconceptions about airbrush spray booths. Use common sense and always have one of these. I don't care who says what, why, where, how. This is just another layer of ventilation of filtration. $15 for one of these. I'll leave a link. What do you use? Do you use a store bought or do you use a DIY? Let me know in the comment section. Next video. Before I say about next video, once again, I want to welcome all the new subscribers that have come aboard since the last video. Uh, We're we're two subscribers at the start of the making of this video today. We were two subscribers short of 100 after 5 weeks on the air. Hey, that's fantastic. I am psyched about that. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. So the next video is going to be the art of proper airbrushing. You're going to see paint being thrown on a model via airbrush that you thought you'd never see it on this channel. You're going to next time. So, if you've liked what you've seen so far, give me a like, subscribe. Two subscriptions away from 100 people. Two. uh, Comment any questions you have. I'd love to hear them. I'll respond to them. And if I don't get don't get miffed. I'm not ignoring you. I'm probably thinking about using it for a video topic. So give me those questions. Give me those video suggestions in the comment section. So that being said, you know what we say around here. Never stop pushing your modeling boundaries. Until next time, my friends, have a good weekend and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.